Welcome everyone to Ask the Pastor. We are so blessed today to be broadcasting from Star Chiropractic and Wellness on Portage Trail in Cuyahoga Falls. And today we're going to be looking at how does pain affect our wellness. Today we are joined by Dow and Pat Font. Did I get that right?
Fonts, yep.
Fonts. And of course Pastor Barber's with us as well. And so Dow and Pat, we want to welcome you today. And welcome, Oliver. We're so glad you can join us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So we're going to have a conversation about how our faith can help affect our wellness and our total being, and also what you do here at Star Chiropractic and Wellness. So first, how long have you been at this location at Portage Trail?
So we opened up August of 2021. It was pretty wild because we had our first son 3 weeks later, which was probably not the most opportune time, but yeah, we've been here since August of 2021.
You had a child?
Yeah.
3 weeks after we opened. Yep, we opened, and then 3 weeks later, our first son came. So it was quite a wild adventure.
So you started the business.
Yeah.
Same time you had a child.
Yeah.
We're really good at time management.
Yeah, whatever that's like.
Right.
It's something, but it's good.
Yes.
You've been here about 3 years.
Yep.
Okay, and what is kind of the focus of what you do here?
So we've kind of switched. We started out with our focus of being, in the beginning, intending to be just pediatrics and prenatal, which we still do a big focus of that, but we've more so switched to, because we do see a lot of families, more family-based care, wellness care for the whole individual, and giving them the best care that we can, so that way they can heal and continue to do the activities that they want to do well beyond when they're out of that pain aspect of things. And
yeah, so helping people get out of the pain, so you don't have to live with the pain.
Correct.
Like there are options for that, and medication is not the only viable option.
Right.
Yes. Yep. There's other pathways.
Yes, and that you have to take the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With medication, we just want to make it go away.
Yes.
So we let her go back around our business, but you teach people to also do this daily. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And we since birth we're ingrained that we have to live a medical model, and we're born in a hospital, and so when we're sick we have to go see a medical doctor and take this pill, take that pill to help with medication, but our body is given what it needs to heal. And so sometimes there's a disconnect between the brain and the body, and we just need to get that into better alignment to allow the body to function like it's supposed to. And so we don't necessarily always need that medication. There's always a time and place, right? But sometimes our body can also do that healing itself. And that's what we're here trying to make that shift with the community, and getting people healthier through chiropractic.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that our body has the ability to heal itself in most circumstances if we give it the space and the time and the
And the
resources
tools,
that it needs. We have to eat well,
Absolutely.
have to rest, we have to slow down.
Yes.
A big proponent. Most of us don't
So we
understand.
go, it's always growing.
Mm-hmm.
So our body can heal itself if we allow it to, give us the space to do that.
Yes.
But we often don't want to do that.
Yes.
Too busy, or might lose out on money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Going.
Well, we live in such a fast-paced life, and technology today has made us want things instantaneously,
Mhm.
right? Just at a click of a button or a pop of a pill, we want everything to be gone. Well, it's a process, right? It's a process for our body to get into that pain and discomfort, and so it's also a process for our body to heal. So a lot of times it's not just that quick fix.
We didn't get that way. It didn't start hurting overnight.
Correct.
It's often for a long time it's been hurting.
All the falls and bumps and bruises we got from coming out of being born and to adulthood, but we just go, oh, I fell, it's okay. But that stuff compounds, and then later as we get older it kind of comes back, and it's like, hey, I've been here this whole time, let's get us fixed now. And so it's definitely a process.
Yeah. We don't realize just how much toll our body takes throughout our lives.
Yeah.
It catches up eventually.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
its body says, no, I need attention.
Yes. Eventually, it will slow us down if we don't get it taken care of.
You mentioned now about birth. I don't think we realize just how traumatic birth is
Yes.
for both the mother and the child.
Mhm.
Because it's for a child
Yeah.
the first traumatic event in life, and also for the mother, and the effect that it takes.
Mhm.
And I think it's this service in our country is we don't give women that time
To heal
after
and
birth
mhm.
to
Yeah.
heal. Some women 2 or 3 days after go right back to work.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that's a traumatic thing.
it
It
is.
is. It is. And a lot of birth is focused on, everyone being so happy because baby's here, mom looks healthy, but it does kind of go by the wayside, what kind of birth did the baby have? Did they have a C-section? Was it vaginal? Was it, did they use tools to pull baby out? A lot of that stuff is really hard on mom and baby. And that's kind of something that's not really talked about. So I think everyone, when someone has a baby, check more in on mom. It's definitely it's a great moment for us, but there's a lot of times everyone comes over and they go, "Oh, let me see the baby." So just go and say, "I want to go see the mom," because she needs love too.
Let's talk about that in a little greater detail because 3 months,
4.
4 months.
Yep.
Well, at this age, what's a month?
I know.
Right.
Young, very young.
So talk about how important that is from a health perspective, as well as dealing with chiropractic, because I saw mine born,
Mhm.
and the fact that I was able to stand and endure the sight.
Let alone the feeling or the pain.
Right. So
Yeah.
talk about that in more detail and how it applies to chiropractic.
So there's a lot that goes in with it because depending on the birth, I mean, a lot of the moms, they deal with things differently. Some moms have postpartum depression. Some moms, they get a chemical imbalance. They don't know what's going on. Some moms seem fine. But a lot of times, too, after birth, just because everything our body has been through, sometimes maybe baby's not latching right and there's a disconnect between mom and baby. Getting adjustments definitely help that. It gets mom more back in alignment, helps the body heal quicker, especially from childbirth. And then getting the baby adjusted as well, that helps with, their traumatic birth of just being born. So that can improve the bonding with mom, which could help with postpartum depression. It also helps with latching if they're having issues there. So more moms, if they really want to breastfeed babies, it helps them be able to do that. And then also with babies, what are you doing? It helps them sleep better, helps with colic, um, digestion issues. So a lot of issues that stem from just the process of being born, that compounds over those first couple of weeks. It helps resolve some of those issues. And then, did you want to go on?
Yeah, I mean the body is an amazing thing, right? And when they're coming through the vaginal canal or even a C-section, like she was saying, if they're using tools to assist, there's just so much stress onto that head, neck, and spine. And so then, as they're developing, they're learning how to walk, they fall, we have all these bumps and bruises. And so then it's that compounding effect as well, like she was saying. And so if we right after birth get that first adjustment and get them functioning, get the nervous system functioning with the brain and the body right away, then they're going to be able to develop much easier, hit those milestones that they're supposed to be hitting. Because even after COVID, the CDC just changed milestones to where crawling's not a milestone anymore, which it's one of our bigger milestones that we need to hit in order for developing. But it's huge that we hit those, so then that way it helps with brain development as well. And so if we can get that disconnect out of there right away from doing the adjustment, it's going to help them tremendously. And that adjustment, again, people think, I'm doing an adjustment like I would on you and I, right? But it's just like if we were in the grocery store feeling the ripeness of a tomato, that's really all the pressure that we're putting on there. It's just very gentle and just a slight touch, and it's just they're able to accept that, and the body starts functioning even better. They're latching, they're nursing, they're not crying all the time. They're being able to go poop and
They're sleeping.
sleeping for mom and dad, which is always a great bonus, right? So that they can get rest too. But it's just an amazing thing, especially seeing a child in here, an infant, and then those parents being able to trust us with their child as well. It's a blessing that we get to do that.
And I feel the moms when they say, I finally got to sleep last night. Like, I get it. I know. It's wonderful.
We're excited to have kids, but then still have to sleep sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I give her so much praise, and I don't tell her enough, just because as we talked about, birth is traumatic, and like she was saying, check in on the mom, but for both births that we had with Oliver and Brody, she had a C-section both times, and she was in here within a week after giving birth. And a lot of moms, get some maternity leave, whether it's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but she has yet to get one of those, and
maybe the next one.
so maybe on the next one.
Maybe the third one I'll get a maternity leave. So I totally understand for those moms that don't get a leave.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is.
I'm glad you talked about caring for women, because I think especially when there's been a birth, we focus so much on the baby. We need to care for the baby and the infant, but also the mother has been through
A lot.
10 months of this, and imagine that whole process of bringing life to the
Absolutely.
body. And they go through a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of body changes and hormones, and a lot of women, like, they after birth that they struggle with their new image, so we kind of help them accept the new way they are, and it being a process. I mean, I struggle with that myself, but and we kind of build a little community of moms here, so it's kind of nice that I won't say he can't really relate to it, but I can really relate to a lot of the moms that come in and struggle with these things. And it's nice that, I can say, you're in great hands, because I know that he's going to be able to help them. Whoa, do you know Daddy's going to help him too? He's just screaming chiropractic to the world. It's okay. He is, huh? Yep, so his first adjustment was about an hour after he was born. And our first son, his first adjustment was about 5 minutes after he was born.
Yeah, he had a little bit more traumatic, our first son. So
His birth was a little calmer. Oh. I think we might
I know when my daughter was born, she's 3. But the first month, she was always just clutching her hands and shake. I didn't know if it was my first son. But it was my daughter. I know the tension in her body. Because it's coming to the world, it's different.
yeah,
It shocks you, and then picking her up, she was just, who are these people?
right.
And then everyone else wants to see her and stuff. And she was born in 2020 in October, so we couldn't take her out.
Yeah.
Outside because everyone wasn't safe. But people said, well, if you don't take her outside, she won't be as social. She's one of the most social people I've ever met.
It's a very
Which, so I'm a client here also. So one of the things I love is that you can bring your kids.
Yeah.
And there's like, no, keep the kids over here. Don't go to the exam room. Every time I come in, there's children in here.
Most kids run this place.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they run it. They're in and out of the exam room, so they're getting adjusted. Which I think is great. It's family oriented. You bring your kids. You don't have to worry about if they're in the way or something. So I think for kids, it's really good to be aware that this is available.
Right.
So my family loves coming here. It's been great for me also just the last few months of getting adjusted regularly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so fascinated by all of the conversation and the hearing that you started off pediatric. In my whole lot of decades on the planet, that was the first time I'd ever heard that. So I find that all the more fascinating about how chiropractic is relevant at birth.
Yeah, it's huge. What really got me into that was at the last office I worked at before I opened up here, there was a child that came in, and I didn't do the very first visit because there was 4 different doctors in the office, so you kind of just got put on a schedule. And so he was 7 years old, and the grandmother was the guardian because the mother had some, drug abuse and things like that. And so she brought him in, and he wasn't engaging in conversation. He wasn't looking at us. He was just kind of looking at the ground. And she was like, he's mute. He's on the spectrum of being autistic, and they were just trying other options. And so after after 4 weeks of care, I did his reevaluation, and it was just a huge difference from the very beginning. So from being mute to now he's talking, now he's engaging in conversation, he's getting in trouble at school because he's talking too much, right? Being an actual kid, again, that was awesome to see, and seeing the power of what the chiropractic can do when you just allow the body to function like it's supposed to. And so that's where I kind of shifted into that pediatrics, but also we found out we were having a child as well before we opened up. That was going to be another huge focus. So that way we can, spread that word more. And if we can start early, it can also help prevent a lot of things later in life, like the degeneration of the joints and the other, chronic illnesses that we have, because you're seeing a lot more illnesses in kids than you used to have. So we wanted to help that generation as they continue to develop.
Yeah, I might even go so far. We've had this similar conversation on a broader scope that the difference between you, age-wise, and mine is that there's more things diagnosed now that I don't believe are necessarily new. It's just that there was no diagnosis
for it previously.
Yeah.
We have a name for it.
Right, there was no name for it
Yeah.
because I could have been all kinds of people, but there was no diagnosis for any of the other things that nowadays you find those things out, or those things really early in a child's life.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do want to have a diagnosis so that way they have an idea of like, okay, this is what I have. This is why I feel
They need
this
a name
way.
for it.
And so then you're seeing a lot more of that, like you said, people are getting diagnosed with something. Because I know I have some patients where, they're like, oh, my child's ADD, ADHD, and so then they're going through all these different avenues just to get that diagnosis, whether it's seeing their primary care and then they get referred to another doctor to, get that full diagnosis, do the testing for it. But they're like, I just want to get that diagnosis so then that way we know. So you are seeing people search for that too.
Right.
Yeah.
In my time, or my growing up early adulthood, everybody was lumped into one really negative place,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
retarded.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was the language that was being used then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stay on that point. I just use that as an example as to how you choosing to do pediatric chiropractic is like brand spanking new to me.
Mhm. It's new to a lot of people, and you hear someone say, "Oh, I take my kid to the chiropractor." If someone goes, "Oh, have you heard of pediatric chiropractor?" Some people look at you like you're crazy. Like, why would I take my kid to a chiropractor? So we're trying really hard to educate people around this in our community that it is something that's helpful for kids. And I honestly think all babies should get adjusted. I really do. It helps them and moms so much. There's just so many benefits from it. But so that's what we're trying to do.
And
Just
kids go through a lot of
educate.
trauma, throughout their whole childhood,
Mhm.
all the developmental stages of children,
Yeah.
All the falling.
all the falling, even losing a tooth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very traumatic. It's a new
Yeah.
tooth.
The growing pains.
Growing pains are
I'm very convinced that's why we don't remember a good portion of our childhood, because it hurts so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Kids, especially also through COVID, kids were going through such trauma, not knowing if they'd be in school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Adults were talking about this virus,
Mhm.
but we just assumed kids could just deal with it.
Right.
And so they've been through a lot of trauma.
Mhm.
So kids need adjusting and they need chiropractic to help. And I think it also helps with the mental health of children.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
often the first response is if something's going on with the child, you need to give them medication.
Mhm.
Sometimes that is a viable option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there are other avenues. Even if you do take medication,
Mhm.
help with their physical body.
Yeah.
Yep.
teach them how to navigate through that. And I think what we in our society is that chiropractic care, maybe you've experienced this, Dr. Pat, it's not valid healthcare.
Yes.
Well, they're not real doctors.
Right.
Mhm.
All the time.
So, Michael, that it is valid.
Yeah.
It does help a lot of people.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that we have to justify, to some people what we do because we have seen it heal so many people. And I think because for those people, it is something new to them. So, it still goes into that educating piece. But yeah, it honestly drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
It really does.
And that's what I'm huge on here. The first 2 days is just a lot of information, and
Mhm.
I'm just huge on the education piece of it because doctor means teacher, and so I'm here to teach patients what it is that we're doing and how we can help them heal and get them to where they want to be, and if they have certain goals to whether it's riding bikes, playing with their kids, their grandkids, we're working on things to get that to be a goal and get them to do that.
Mhm.
But I also liked how you talked about, it's not necessarily the physical aspect of it, right? It's the emotional piece of it and the mental piece of it. Because as we were talking about kids, they have so much emotional trauma. When we think about when we were in school, we didn't have a cell phone, we didn't have all this connection to, media. It was you go to school, you come home, you don't really talk to your friends because you have just a landline, and then
Usually your
you
sister.
you can't game and connect with your friends or people around the world. You're just at home with your family. Or now, they're at school, they're talking to their friends, they go home, they still have their cell phone, they're texting their friends, they're on social
You never
media,
stop.
constantly connected to individuals, and it's a mean world out there.
Especially with online
Mhm.
bullying.
Yep.
So when we were growing up, if you got bullied at school, if you went home,
It was done.
it was done for that day.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it never stops now.
But now,
It follows them everywhere.
bully online, could be the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So online, so when you go home, you deal with it.
Yeah.
Emotional trauma. And also, if your body physically aches, the mental toll and emotional toll that takes on you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So at least you can get your physical body cared for.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's also students involved in sports. They also need adjusting
Yep.
Yeah,
and help because they're dealing with a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah, he does a lot of athletes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of martial artists in the area.
Surprise. Now, with that thought in mind, because as you know, I'm the networker, so I'm always thinking about things when I hear things and who I know that might be able to help. Are you attached to any school districts locally?
Not yet. And we've kind of thought about, do we want to get connected with one, or do we want to? As our son is going to be 3 in September, now we're starting to think, okay, what schools are we going to be going to for him? And probably need to start doing some school tours, right? Because they want to see that earlier on as well. So we haven't really been connected with a certain school. We do support Cuyahoga Falls High School. We have they have their yearly sports schedules that come out, and so then we always sponsor that. But it's really the school in the area. But
Oh, that's good. Just my thought, because I'm connected with Cuyahoga Falls, I'm connected with Stowe, I'm connected with Woodridge, which is an extension of
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. We get a lot of teachers that come from Woodridge.
yeah,
It's right around the corner. Yeah.
yes they do.
Yeah.
I volunteered, used to volunteer in school about half an hour at a time. And that was enough.
It's a lot. Uh-huh.
So I can imagine teachers all day,
Yes.
every day.
Cleaning up with all of it.
Definitely takes a certain breed of people to deal with a bunch of little humans yelling at you all day.
Yes. And can you share with us some about the education that you both have received to be able to do this? How long it took you to achieve that?
Yeah, so I went to 4 years of undergrad at Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa. It was a liberal arts school, and then after that, I went to chiropractic school at Palmer College in Davenport, Iowa, which is the fountainhead of chiropractic where it was founded, and went there for 3.5 years. It was a year-round curriculum, so had a couple breaks here and there, but with summer break was usually the longest that they would have, but it was year-round for the most part. And then after that, then I went to a couple other offices to train under some docs that were well known in the area, and then that helped kind of shaped who I am today with chiropractic. And then I'm working on my pediatric certification, so I'm on my last class right now, and then I'll take our exam to
It's a very long,
certified.
extensive process. So
So
he's almost at the end of it. It's light at the end of the tunnel.
Now,
So I did a little bit of college. Was not for me, but I actually ended up working in a martial arts school for 10 years. So I did a lot of the athletic side of stuff, I would say. But that's where I was introduced to chiropractic. The gentleman that owns the school is a very nice man, and he would have a chiropractor come in once a week and adjust the staff because the job could be so intensive. But that's when I seen the big difference in getting adjusted weekly. Just helped me feel better, helped my mind. So that's kind of where I fell in love with it. And then I just so happened to meet this guy who was a chiropractor, and I was like, even better. Now I have one that I can take to my house and get adjustments whenever I want. But everyone thinks, oh, being married to a chiropractor is so great. You must get adjusted all the time. No, I do not. Because at the end of the day, when he's like, ready to get adjusted, I'm like, no, I'm ready to go home and go to bed. So, but I do try to get 1 to 2 adjustments per week. So that kind of led me on a road to really liking chiropractic. And when I met him, I was like, hey, I got this great chiropractor to work for, because he was working for a doc, and he was ready to move to a next place just to kind of work in different offices. And I was like, I have the perfect doc for you. So that's where he got his sports side of the chiropractic from, because Dr. Buddy did a lot with athletes and racing and all kinds of that fun stuff. But then we decided that we're going to open our own eventually, and here we are. Yeah.
and you do a great job of caring for mothers.
I try. I want them to feel cared for and loved. So.
What they're going through is just
Yeah.
be isolating, being a mother at times, and then
Yeah.
you're not known as your first name anymore. That child's mother or so-and-so's wife.
Yeah.
So you still have your own identity.
yeah,
So all the mothers who come in here, especially when they say hi and
Yeah.
or just connecting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Before we do it. So that's what we do. To have a
Yeah.
space for mothers to come.
Well, and it's nice because a lot of moms that come here are stay-at-home moms, so the only people they talk to are little people.
Yeah.
So it's nice for them to be able to come out, and even if, it's the chiropractors are getting adjusted, but, they'll come up here, we'll talk for 5-10 minutes, and, I know they need that. I mean, we all need that adult social, contact. So it's nice to be able to.
Even if the kids can just go around and play.
Oh, yeah.
While mothers are talking, it's really good to see that.
There's times we'll have a group of kids running races around the tables, and they'll run up here and run through the back, and yeah.
I mean, you gotta watch.
Yes. Usually there's like Legos, blocks around the floor. I'm like scooting them away. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Please don't fall. But if you fall, you're in good hands because you're at the chiropractor.
Well, and she does a good job too, because a lot of like moms will come in and they talk to me about certain things, and then they'll go up here, and then I hear them up there, and I'm seeing 2 other patients, and they're still up there chit chatting, and so she talks to them about completely other different things, makes them feel comfortable, but also with the extent that care that we've done here, and then what she's done outside of it, whether it's with massage or pelvic floor, she's done other things when she's been through her pregnancies, that I'm always like, well, just talk to Dal up front, because she'll give you a much better explanation of what happened there with that visit than I would, because she was the one that experienced it. So she can relate with them and their healing and what it is that they also need further on too.
Yeah.
And you can treat pregnant women, right?
Absolutely.
You can do adjustments.
Absolutely, it's great for their throughout their pregnancy, but then also as they're laboring and delivering, it makes it go a lot easier. It goes faster, so then that way it's also less painful.
Yep. He is Webster certified, so it's a specific technique that allows him to work better on pregnant women, more with the bones and the muscles that are shifting through our pregnancy.
So it's adjusted then for like pregnant women. It's not like laying on your stomach.
It's very different.
They
Yeah.
do lay on their stomach, but I have a pillow that they can lay on, so then that way it doesn't put pressure on the baby.
So it's adapted for
Mhm.
Yep.
pregnancy.
Yep, and it is very different than
Yeah.
the way I
It's
adjust
not
it
your
with people.
typical adjustment.
I think when you think of chiropractic,
Adult, babies, pregnancy, all different.
it's just gonna lay you down and twist you. That's what he does to me.
You love it. That's why you're here.
I love it. That's why, yeah. I can lift weights a lot better, so that's
Good.
less aches and pains.
Yeah.
But there's different types of chiropractic for what you're going through.
Absolutely.
You know, so if you're older,
Different
60 years old,
stages. Yeah.
you know, there's different types
Mhm.
to help with that. Help if you've been through some type of trauma physically, you know, there's different types of treatment
Mhm.
instead of
Yep.
just cracking your neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love all that when I come in, twisting me both sides, adjusting my neck, and I just feel great.
Yeah. Feel taller, lighter.
Yes. So I leave and I feel great, and you go back out to life. Oh, you go right back.
And then your whole life schedule just hits you, and you're like, God, I gotta go back to the chiropractor.
Yes, I can't wait to go back. But even I think so. There's people who can't deal with whether they've been through trauma or not. They can't deal with the intensity of it.
Correct.
So you have adaptations for that.
Yep, we have different techniques. I do SOT, which is sacro-occipital technique, and so I use blocks on the hips. So then that way I don't necessarily have to have that individual laying on their side to adjust the hips. I have it's called an activator, so it's like I just say a clicker or a stapler, my staple gun, but I leave the staples at home. But it helps move the bone. So again, it's not as invasive, or it's not as intense as using my hands. So it's more gentle for that individual. And some people need something a little bit more gentle because their body is a little bit more sensitive, so they don't need that high intensity adjustment.
So what go on to talk about our faith also. But when a new person comes in, what should they expect as a new patient?
So on that first visit, it usually takes about an hour. We again go over so much information, and so we explain kind of what chiropractic is, but then we take them through, what's the pain that they're having. We go over their health history. I do scans on the body that show me a little bit more of what's going on the inside. So it's another tool that we can use to monitor their care as we continue to progress, and then also we do some tests, range of motion, see how the body's moving. And then I also do x-rays in the office because I want to see what their body looks like on the inside. I think that's a great thing to use and to know because everyone's body is different. And sometimes you see things on there that they weren't necessarily aware of either. So I like to do that before we do the adjustment. And then if everything checks out, usually I do that adjustment on the first visit as well. And then, when we're done with that, we can schedule for that second visit, usually within the next day or two. So then that way, get that body continuously healing and functioning better.
Right. Yeah. When I was here, my first appointment, did the X-rays, and you showed me what the X-ray looked like. That explains a lot. Why my body was hurting in those spots.
When you see your insides, it's like, yep, that's why my back hurts. Like
Yeah.
That's why it hurts.
Yeah.
Like we can't see that ourselves.
Mhm.
So what you do X-rays here in the office.
Yep.
They don't have to go anywhere else.
Mhm.
It's done on site here. But then just start talking about this stuff. This is why you were hurting,
Yeah.
and you could see that.
Yeah, and sometimes it'll surprise us that, they're like, I feel so much pain. I'm like, okay, I'm expecting to see certain things. And then I'm like, actually, is it too bad? Your neck curve is really good, actually. So sometimes I get surprised too.
Some of that's been years that we've been that way.
Yeah.
For some reason or another.
Yep.
So it's just exaggerated over time.
Mhm.
Um, So when you come to your first visit, they're really gracious here. They're very welcoming, and you know I know you work with people where we are and talk about a plan for treatment. So and then also you have some payment options for
Mhm.
people.
Absolutely.
So if you feel like your insurance isn't suitable for this, or some insurance may not cover.
And honestly, a lot of times our in-house prices are cheaper than insurance plans, unfortunately. So most people tend to go to our in-house option unless you have a super great insurance plan and they cover everything, which most don't.
Especially not chiropractic.
Yeah.
We don't. Insurance plans still cover wellness.
One of those
Yeah.
ones that chiropractors are still really fighting and pushing for better care, especially through insurance, and more of like a maintenance care to help keep you maintained. Insurance likes to really only help you when you're in really bad shape. So we're trying to get them to help to prevent
Yeah,
the really bad shape.
preventative. Prevent
Yes,
happening.
but insurance is not
Yeah.
big on preventative. So.
No. But you also take like HSA.
Yep, we do the HSA, the flex spend. We take most major insurances, but again, it just really comes down to the insurance plan and what they offer for the chiropractic. But yeah, we have plans that can fit almost every budget. Hey, Bella.
He's a mama's boy.
They can work with you on that.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about how faith affects wellness, but also tradition and how that will dictate and guide how you care for people here.
Yeah, and so we're Catholic. I was actually Lutheran, and then I converted into Catholicism in fifth grade. And I went to Catholic college, and um, my faith, I kind of got lost a little bit, and then when I moved to Ohio, because I'm originally from Iowa, is when I got back into it, and then that's kind of helped guide us. I would pray every week of, actually daily of, helping individuals in our community as much as we can. But then that's really where we got, Star Chiropractic. The Star is the Star of Bethlehem, and I was sitting in church one of our it was 2020, so it was just before COVID because it was one of the readings, and I believe it was in the book of Matthew where he was talking about the three wise men looking towards the Star of Bethlehem and to find Jesus, and it was a sense of hope that things were going to be okay, and so that's why I also say a beacon of hope here, right? We want to be a sense of hope for individuals that this can be a place of healing, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, I need this medication, this surgery, this modality to help me heal. Because, like I said earlier, our body's been given what it needs to heal. We just need to put it in the right place. Right? We need to align it again. And so that's where I got Star Chiropractic and Wellness, and just wanted to be a sense of hope for individuals in our office.
Oh, that's incredible. I didn't know where the name Star came from.
Well, a lot of people, well, her family, because she's Thai, so a lot of people Thai and Laos, and so they think that Star is for her because her name.
Star. They come in here, they go, oh, that's really nice. But yeah.
Yeah, because your name Dao means star,
Yeah.
and like the ocean. Yeah, I think you're right. Giving people a chance, the opportunity, give our body the chance to heal itself. God created it
Yeah,
to heal most things that we deal with, but we don't give it the space
right.
to do it
Or the time.
or the time.
Yeah, I don't think he put us here to say, all right, now you gotta have to figure it out. He gave us all the tools, and so sometimes things happen and our body gets out of alignment, and so then it's not going to function to the best that it can. And if we're putting it back into the alignment, then everything's connected and communicating like it should, and that allows us to function better, do the things that we want to.
Right. And I feel like I can serve God better when I'm physically well, when I'm mentally well, when I'm emotionally well. It makes my spirit well, and so I can do those things better. And I believe that our bodies are temples of God, so we need to treat it respect and dignity and
Yeah.
care for it. Doesn't mean you can never have a treat or something, but if that's all you need, it catches up.
Exactly.
Over the holidays, you say, I didn't eat that. I did not eat that many cookies. But when January hits, you step on the scale. The body never lies.
It never lies.
Yeah, the body never lies. It remembers everything.
Yes, it
So we may
does.
think it wasn't that many cookies or sweets, but your body knows.
Yeah.
But even coming into chiropractic care, we may not think that we've been through anything, or major trauma, but we come in and start talking about it. Well, there was that time, I fell. I never didn't go to the doctor. I didn't realize that's how hard you fell.
Right.
You come in and start like, well, my head's been hurting. That was years ago.
Yeah,
It's a trauma.
it is. And, a lot of times when we're young, we don't think anything of those falls, right? We get back up and we just keep doing our normal things and the pain goes away. But then we keep doing those things, and then as we get older, it's as simple as putting the dishes in the dishwasher, tying our shoes, putting on our socks or our pants, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, now I'm in a lot of pain and discomfort, right? And so then that tends to even last longer than what it used to be. It's because of all that trauma and that stuff that we've been experiencing throughout our life that adds up. Absolutely.
Well, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you fell, hurt yourself, get up and rub some dirt on it. Keep going.
Yes, it is.
Especially if you fell off of something as a child, from some sort of height, that can affect you. And it affects you until
Yeah.
you don't realize. Well, there was that time I fell.
Yeah.
On my arm. Well, that affects us.
It does, and that's one of the questions I always ask people when they come in is any major accidents or injuries, and sometimes we don't think of those as major accidents, right? Falls, and I know in the back of my head that we had some of those, or I have some veterans here, and I know that they've gone through an extensive training, and they don't, no falls, and I'm like, well, there's probably some injuries in there. Carrying those rucksacks during training, and I know there's some trauma.
Think about the load that soldiers carry, all the equipment that they carry, it's
Yeah.
probably 20 pounds or more.
Oh yeah.
It's also just the trauma of being, in combat or even training.
Yeah.
It affects you physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
So, you carry that with you. But I never thought about that veteran needs.
Yeah.
When you come back, especially if you've been in active combat zone.
Yeah.
If you've got PTSD on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Chiropractic care can help you.
Yeah.
With that.
Well, and that's another, as we transition into, PTSD, but even just the pain management that individuals come back from, whether they've experienced something there, and then you go to pain management, and, Ohio got hit with that opioid crisis, right? And so chiropractic's another avenue that we can use to help the body heal instead of going through an opioid, getting stuck on pain medication, because they can get addicted to that and it leads us down a different path. Whereas chiropractic can help with the whole being, emotionally, physically, and, even chemically in the body too.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Addiction. Most of the time, no one wakes up and says, I want to be an addict. I want to start an addiction. It ruined my life and my family. A lot of it's this pain that I'm dealing with. The drug numbs the pain.
Yep.
Most of us do that with food.
Yeah.
It's just,
there is that emotional tie with it.
Stressed or anxious, we want to go grab some sugar. But for some people, it's an opioid or some other type of narcotic or drug that numbs the pain. And so it's just they don't know any other resources.
Right.
That so letting them know that you can come to chiropractic care.
Absolutely.
Even if you've been through recovery, when you get stressed again, what option do you have? If it's you don't know how to deal with the stress, you go back to what you know.
Yep.
Which is the drug. But if you learn some tools, like in chiropractic care, you learn some breathing techniques, and also you have those tools accessible.
Absolutely.
And you can maybe not regress into using the drugs.
Yeah.
So I think chiropractic care can help anyone if you know about it. So what would you say to someone who's hesitant to come in?
If they're hesitant to come in, we're always open for a conversation. I had a lady last week. Most of the time, people are coming in and they're going through the first day evaluation. But this lady, she wanted to come in and she just wanted to meet us.
Right.
And so she came in. We were just discussing her health history, and she just wanted to get a feel of the office. And then she's coming in on Friday for her first day evaluation. We might not do the adjustment. We talked about that. She's like, I might just kind of wait, go at her own pace. And so we're willing to go as far as the individual wants. They just want to come in, have a conversation to see what we can do for that individual. We're happy to do so and answer any questions that they may have. Even with kids, it's a slow process. I've had it where kids don't want to go into the rooms, right? It's at their own pace. We're not here to push any individual to do what they wanted, to do what we want to do. It's at their own leisure, and so we're here for them when that time is right.
Yeah, so if you're hesitant, call the office, and sometimes we just come in and meet Val and Pat and Oliver and Brody.
Brody sometimes makes an appearance.
You just come in and meet them a little bit. There's no commitment or anything.
Yeah.
But also, if you have a child who's hesitant about chiropractic care, have them come in and meet you.
Yeah.
This talk. I know you don't fortunately want to do anything they're not comfortable with.
Right.
So just come in and meet you both, see what the office is, what it's like, and express your concerns that they have. This is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Well, I have just a thought about something as I've been listening. This is generally how it often goes. David talks and talks and talks, and I listen and I listen and I listen. And then around now, I'll have something to say that I think is relevant to the whole conversation. Two things. Number one, you had mentioned being a doctor also means being a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I relate to that big time on a lot of different levels. But the second thing is, as I'm listening to you, I'm going to make a statement. You can laugh or you can laugh. That when you're actually doing chiropractic on someone, you really kind of leave here.
Yeah.
Because you're into that.
Right.
Okay. See, so I got that part right. The second thing is, not that, is that I believe this to be a fact, is that God has blessed you in such a way that He uses your hands to heal.
Absolutely.
It's the same way He created us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every week as we go to mass, I pray that for our family, I pray for, our community, but then I also pray to continue to let me do His work, right? We're all led down a certain path, and what that path is, we have no idea, right? He has the whole blueprint, but, right now it's, let me do the work that you want me to do and continue to do that and help our community as much as I can. And whether that's through chiropractic, that's what I'm doing right now, and whether that's something later, who knows? But I definitely agree with you on that. Is definitely through my hands, helping individuals in our area, our community, even further away from our community too. So I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah. And I can vouch for the healing with the hands. It's not like he just puts his hands over me without touching me, and I start cracking. So you do feel like you're healed when you come in. And, that's something that we really need, is that physical touch.
Yeah.
You just blind our body to do that. So it's like a healing place to come in and do it. And if you're listening to this, both Dr. Pat and Val are educated and trained in doing this. They're not hacks. Sometimes the chiropractic care, I think, well, they're just hacks. They're just trying to take money from the that's not the case. They're trained in this. You're certified to the state of Ohio.
Yep.
Right, there's a chiropractic board.
Yep. Absolutely.
Ohio, you can't practice
Correct.
without that licensure.
Correct.
Yeah, so they're legal, they're licensed, they're not hacks. They've been educated in this. But also know that when you're in the room with me, that's where you are.
Yep.
You're focused on me as a patient in that room.
Present time.
Yes, at that present time. So it is part of our healing. We need to heal our physical process. So to wrap up, I want to encourage anyone, if you're hesitant about chiropractic care, contact Dr. Pat and Dow down at Star Chiropractic. They're located here on Portage Trail West, and just come in and talk with them. Just learn more, feel more about your concerns, your illnesses in your body, and just learn who you are. So, Dr. Pat, as we finish up, any guidance or words you want to give to those who will be listening today?
Well, like we said, I totally understand individuals when it can be nerve wracking trying something new, right? You hear individuals trying chiropractic, and you hear someone's in pain. They're like, well, why don't you give it a try? It is definitely a nerve wracking experience, and I try to create in our office a sense of warmth and welcoming. And as I said earlier, we're not pushing individuals to do things they don't want to do. And so if they just want to have a conversation about something, we're here for that as well. Because it's more than just a physical pain, it's the emotional piece of it too. And so if we can calm the nerves in that piece first and just get them into the office to, where they feel a little bit more comfortable, I would be happy to do so.
I want to thank Dr. Pat and Dow and Oliver for joining us today. Be sure to check the description for their link and information. We're broadcasting here from Star Chiropractic on, what is your address?
209 Portage Trail Extension West, Suite 101 in Cuyahoga Falls. And it's big to put the extension west on there, because if you don't, then it'll take you somewhere completely different.
Completely opposite of Portage.
Yes, on the side of Portage Trail Extension West. And regardless of the construction out there, you can still get into the
Yes.
place. So,
Hopefully almost done.
They say it's coming to an end.
Yes.
We'll see.
but regardless of the construction, get in to see Dow and Pat down at Star Chiropractic. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you.